This is Tom Dillon, the Lifetime Liberal, and today is Sunday, December 1st, 2019. God, the year's almost over. Another day older and deeper in debt. The title of this rant is Big Oil and Coal Lied About Global Climate Change. They must pay those most affected. So it's very sorry to say that the legacy of my generation passing on to the next generations is that we did virtually nothing to slow down the accelerated growth of global climate change. And in spite of all the stuff that's going on in the national news right now, this is going to outlive this president, far outlive this president, and its consequences are much greater than what's going on with this president right now, even though we do have to deal with that. And, let's just go that we have basically known the math, not necessarily about global climate change, but about how carbon affects the atmosphere, for roughly 200 years. Scientists, basically from the beginning of the Industrial Revolution on, basically were able to make note of the amount of soot that came in the air from all of these coal-powered plants that were out there. And, through the math, we're able to say that if this keeps going, if this keeps accelerating, the amount of coal that we're using to burn in the Industrial Revolution can affect the things that we're seeing today. And there have been articles written all over the world from the 1850s on saying that this actually could happen. Big oil and coal, through their own research in the 60s and 70s, not only knew that this could happen, they knew that it would happen. And they have done virtually nothing to do it. They have lied, they have denied, they've gotten more tax breaks, they said it's jobs, it's all this other crap, happy horse shit. And, things are just getting worse, and they will continue to get worse. And the best legacy that this generation and my generation can hopefully pass on, especially when it comes to the ballot box and getting rid of this guy, is that we need to acknowledge that global climate change is real and it is not going away. We have to acknowledge that right now, our current efforts are basically fruitless. We're not getting anywhere fast. Yes, we're making tremendous strides, but we're still extracting a tremendous amount of oil and gas from the ground. Of course, coal is going down. And that we also have to say that those who are climate change deniers, especially those in the U.S., really need to be called out for who they are. And that is that they are un-American. And let's not forget that the Republicans in the 1990s, when this was first coming about, basically were for it because they were for, remember acid rain and stuff like that. They wanted to do this stuff, but then it became apparent to them that if they admitted that global climate change was real, then they would have to admit that the government needed to be the major player in reversing, let's say, our carbon footprint, because they had to establish the norms, they had to enforce policy and rules, they had to drive innovation so that we can reduce this carbon footprint. And they basically said, well, we don't want big government, so we don't want anything to do with this. And there came the denial. And of course, they did this knowing that oil and coal were hurting our atmosphere, and they continued to give them tax breaks. And of course, the Democrats have some complicity in this, not nearly as much as the Republicans. But we have to acknowledge that right now we have the technology to make dramatic, steps to decrease our carbon footprint. But and at the same time, can increase jobs. It's not a one-way situation. It's not a lose-lose situation. It's a win-win situation. However, we do not have the political will to pull this off right now. And big oil, big coal, they need to pay for what they have, their lies and deceits. And all of the Republicans need to be voted out of office because they have denied and deceived the American people for a long time about this. They're smart people. They know it exists. And all they're looking for is to get to their next election. They have deceived the American people, and they must pay a price also. We must, especially my generation, must pass on as its legacy that we have acknowledged this and we are willing to make tremendous strides, which can be done. We have the technology, we have to have the political will, and we must go after global climate change now.